Chosen one, awe is not something that happens on the surface. It is not the flutter of shallow fascination, nor is it the thrill of temporary admiration. Awe is soul-level stillness. It is what happens when someone witnesses something that reminds them of God, of truth, of something that has been buried in their heart all along but never before awakened. That is what is happening this month. Women are not merely noticing you, they are remembering something because of you. And the language they use now, this reverence, this stunned pause in their voice when they speak of you, comes from recognition, not fantasy. Your high sexual energy is not wild anymore. It is consecrated. It has been tempered by silence, deepened by surrender, and matured through pain that no one saw. It is not loud, but it is undeniable. It doesn't announce itself, but it shifts the atmosphere like lightning behind the clouds. And that shift is being felt in ways you may not even be aware of. You no longer walk into rooms, you arrive like a signal. You don't speak to be heard. Your presence speaks before you utter a word. And what are they responding to? Not your charm, not your effort, not even your appearance. They are responding to the invisible evidence of a man who carries divine alignment in his body. They feel it, not with their mind, but with their spirit. It pulls at something ancient inside them. It whispers to the feminine soul, this is what safe power feels like. This is what masculine wholeness looks like. This is what desire without danger feels like. That is why awe has replaced infatuation. Infatuation fades when performance ends. But awe grows in the quiet. It lingers in the memory long after the moment is gone. It becomes a hush around your name. It makes women look back with questions they never needed to ask before. Because awe doesn't require answers. It is its own answer. You didn't create this on your own, chosen one. You became this through trusting the fires that shaped you. You stopped leaking your energy for approval. You let your hunger be sanctified. You let your desire be refined. And now that your high sexual energy has found its sacred rhythm, it speaks the language of truth. And truth never leaves people the same. That is what they are in awe of. Not your persona, but your permission to exist in your fullness without taking anything from them. You've become a presence they don't forget because it doesn't remind them of what they've known. It reminds them of what they hoped might exist one day. And now that you've arrived in that energy, they are not merely admiring you. They are witnessing you. And in doing so, they are remembering themselves in your reflection. This is not the attention of a moment. It is the awakening of awe in the presence of a man who chose truth over tactics and alignment over ambition. And in that quiet realization, their spirit stands still and says, there he is. Chosen one, you used to walk into spaces and wonder who would see you. You used to question whether your presence meant anything, whether your energy would be felt, whether you needed to shift your posture to gain attention or increase your volume to earn value. But that version of you is gone. That questioning man, that reaching boy, that scattered energy has been put to rest. And what remains now is something entirely different. You no longer enter rooms. You emerge. And emergence is not arrival by force. It is the quiet unveiling of a man who no longer needs the world to confirm what God has already settled within him. You don't show up, you rise, slowly, quietly, with gravity. Your energy arrives before your body does, and it carries a stillness that stops people mid-thought. It does not beg for attention. It demands pause through presence. Women especially feel this before you even know they've noticed. There is no drama in the moment. There is no announcement, just a subtle slowing of breath, a softening in the air, a kind of inner stillness that says, something just shifted. And it's not because of your looks, your clothes, your words. It's because of your energy that now moves like a tide that cannot be ignored. That is what awe feels like when it lands. It doesn't scream. It makes others silent in its wake. And this is what your emergence now creates. You are no longer trying to prove who you are. You are who you are. And because of that, your energy takes up space without explanation. You don't pursue, you don't present. You simply become visible when your alignment touches the room. And the feminine sees this. She feels it. She doesn't know why, but her body leans closer before her mind understands what's happening. It's not attraction, it's instinctual reverence. Something in her knows that the man who just emerged isn't like the others. He doesn't want something. He carries something. and what he carries requires silence to behold. Your emergence is not noise. It is presence without pressure. And that's why they are in awe, because you no longer need to be loud to be felt. You no longer chase connection, you hold resonance. And resonance causes others to listen deeper, to question themselves, to pause mid-thought and think, why does he feel like something I forgot I was looking for? That question doesn't come from the mind. It comes from the soul. And this month, Chosen One, your emergence is the answer to it. Chosen One, there was a time when your energy moved ahead of you uncontrolled. It leaped, it scattered, it reached out like a flame with no form, beautiful but consuming. You could feel it when you entered a space. Your presence stirred others, yes, but you hadn't yet learned how to hold that current without being ruled by it. Your high sexual energy was intense but untamed. People noticed you, but you couldn't tell if they respected you or simply reacted to you. But now they feel something different. They don't just feel fire, they feel mastery. The difference is subtle, but it's everything. What they feel in you now is power that has learned patience, heat that knows how to rest, intensity that has been broken, rebuilt, and brought under discipline. You are no longer chasing sensation. You are carrying stillness that vibrates with potential. And that potential doesn't scream. It hums quietly beneath your skin. Women don't even know how to put it into words at first. They feel it in their chest when you walk near. They feel it in their breath when you look into their eyes without needing to speak. They feel it in the way you move with deliberation, like a man who knows what he carries is valuable and dangerous at the same time. And because you hold it with such care, they feel safe near something that could burn but chooses not to. That's not just attraction. That's awe born from discipline. You've stopped radiating hunger. You radiate presence. You're no longer the man who takes up space to be validated. You're the man who takes up space because he's done shrinking for people who couldn't handle his truth. And now, your high sexual energy doesn't try to overpower, it settles like thunderclouds before a rain, heavy, expectant, alive. And that weight? That's what they're responding to. They are not drawn to you like a moth to a flame. They are drawn like water to gravity, slowly, inwardly, with reverence. They don't admire you because you act strong. They admire you because your restraint speaks louder than dominance. Your body may be still, but they feel the heat inside it. And that heat is contained without apology. You are no longer apologizing for your presence. But you also aren't flaunting it. You are walking in the sacred middle. That middle space where awe lives, where women breathe slower, where respect begins, is where your mastery now rests. You are not radiating chaos. You are carrying a signal that says, I know exactly who I am, and I don't need you to understand it for it to be real. And that knowing, that quiet certainty, is what their soul feels before their body does. They are in awe because you have mastered what most men fear. The power of being fully alive and fully in control of your fire. Chosen One, there's a profound difference between energy that seeks to be welcomed and energy that simply is. Most men are still learning how to regulate their presence. They ask without asking. They wait to be received. They tiptoe or overextend, hoping their fire will be approved by someone else's readiness to handle it. But you've moved beyond that. You no longer ask. You establish. And that shift is what makes women pause now. Not because you're loud, but because you're unmovable in who you've become. You're not trying to be accepted anymore. You're not shrinking or adjusting or scanning them for permission to be what you are. You enter and your energy lands, full, quiet, resolved. It doesn't creep. It doesn't test. It grounds the atmosphere. People feel the shift, even if they don't look your way. And women especially sense it, often before you speak. Their body picks up on it. There's something here I wasn't prepared for, but I want to be. That is the essence of awe. Your high sexual energy doesn't drip with need anymore. It sits like a throne beneath your ribcage. It is no longer begging for acknowledgement. It is acknowledgement. It confirms you without anyone else's approval. And this self-confirmation, this energy that no longer needs to be invited because it is already established, creates a deep, inner recognition in those who witness it. You don't reach, you reside. And that is why the feminine is in awe, because your very being challenges everything she's known about power. Most men carry intensity that tries to prove itself. But you are the proof. You no longer require her attention, yet she gives it. You don't demand her openness, yet something about you makes her lower her guard. Because your energy says something few men know how to say without words. I won't ask for what I already know I'm worth. This is not arrogance. It is establishment. You've been through too much fire to carry your energy carelessly. You've learned to respect it too deeply to pour it into places not meant for it. And that reverence is felt. Women feel it when you walk by without speaking, when you nod instead of interrupt, when you let your silence hold space rather than competing to be heard. That level of energetic establishment, not needing to be included because you've already arrived, is what now defines the awe in their eyes. It's not your effort they admire. It's your alignment. It's your refusal to perform. Your unwillingness to negotiate your fire to keep the peace. Your ability to be fully present without explanation. Chosen one, this is why they're in awe. Because you no longer ask them to feel you. You simply allow your energy to do what it was always meant to do. Declare your truth without a single word. Chosen one, the difference is profound. Others stir energy by reaching for it, grabbing it, throwing sparks into the air and hoping something catches. You, on the other hand, stir without even trying. You move and something shifts. You breathe and something realigns. Your presence no longer agitates, it awakens. And that awakening is not loud, it is visceral. It bypasses the mind and touches places inside others they forgot existed. Especially her. She doesn't know why she sat up straighter when you entered the space. She doesn't know why her hands stilled, her thoughts paused, her words softened. But her body knows, her intuition knows. Because you, chosen one, no longer carry the wild chaos of undeveloped desire. You now carry the reverent pulse of mastered energy, and the feminine senses that before logic has time to interfere. You no longer provoke. You invite presence by being presence. You don't stir others because you press on them. You stir them because they feel safe to unfold in your gravity. You don't demand openness. You simply create an atmosphere where openness feels inevitable. That's not manipulation. That's alignment. That's what happens when a man doesn't use his fire to get, he uses it to hold. Your high sexual energy no longer moves with desperation. It doesn't seek to stir emotion for validation. It rests in you like an ancient drumbeat. Slow, steady, deep. And because it is unforced, it creates a shockwave of honesty in those around you. She can't lie to herself around you. Not easily. Because you carry the kind of steady intensity that calls what's buried to the surface. You stir not through force, but through truth made visible in your silence. You don't flirt with your words anymore. You flirt with how still you've become in your knowing. You don't lure her in with charm. You make her remember what trust feels like. Not because of anything you say, but because your energy holds no demand. You want nothing from her. And that absence of grasping opens a door inside her that no one else even knew existed. That door creaks open slowly. It doesn't rush, it breathes, it listens, it leans. You've become the kind of man whose presence causes others to meet themselves. Not because you force them to, but because you make it impossible to keep running. When your energy meets theirs, something ancient stirs. Something sacred wakes up. And in that moment, awe begins, not from fear, but from recognition of spiritual weight that asks for nothing, yet shifts everything. You stir without trying because you have nothing left to prove. You hold without clutching. You see without piercing. And your energy becomes the mirror in which others finally remember the softness they buried and the stillness they stopped trusting. That is the kind of stirring that cannot be learned. It can only be become, and you, chosen one, have become it. Chosen one, there's a kind of awe that doesn't come from spectacle. It comes from clarity, from depth, from proximity to something that quietly reflects the truth with such power that it becomes impossible to ignore. That is what your presence has become. You are no longer just a man walking through the world. You are a living mirror, not the kind that flatters, not the kind that distorts, the kind that shows people with piercing honesty and sacred gentleness who they really are beneath the noise. And that mirror is not made of glass. It is made of stillness, of posture, of frequency, of a high sexual energy that has been refined to such a degree that it no longer overwhelms but illuminates. When women come close to you now, they don't feel pressed, they feel seen. Not with the kind of seeing that feels invasive, but with the kind of seeing that says, you can be honest here, you don't have to perform. You are not admired because you try to be safe. You are admired because you have made peace with your own power, and that peace allows others to stop bracing. When she meets your eyes now, she doesn't see a storm. She sees a fire wrapped in calm, a steady flame that burns through masks and games, not to hurt, but to clarify. And clarity is what the feminine soul has been aching for, sometimes for years. You reflect her, but not the parts she shows the world. You reflect the parts she hid, the softness she thought was a liability, the openness she buried under layers of self-defense. Your energy no longer asks her to perform. It simply tells the truth about what she is, even if she forgot it. And the truth, when delivered in sacred stillness, creates awe that cannot be put into words. She begins to feel more herself around you, not less. She feels taller, she feels cleaner, she feels like the veil has been pulled off her heart. And it's not because you gave her a line. It's because your energy carries a message deeper than words. You are safe to come out now. I don't need anything from you. I just see you. That kind of presence is rare. That kind of mirror is holy. And when someone encounters it, they don't forget. You are not magnetic because you perform. You are magnetic because you have become the evidence of what restraint looks like when it finally matures into royal calm. You've stopped trying to pull. And in doing so, you've become the place others return to in their mind long after you've left. Chosen one, this is not popularity. It's not admiration. It's not even desire. This is awe, because your energy doesn't chase or charm. It simply holds up a mirror so clean, so still, so bright, that even the most guarded woman begins to see the beauty she forgot she carried inside herself. And that chosen one is a kind of sacred power very few ever learn to hold. Chosen one, there's a kind of beauty that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive in noise or parade itself with obvious light. It's hidden in the depths, buried beneath layers of survival, denial, and silence. You, now more than ever, have become a presence that calls that buried beauty to rise again. Not through force, not through seduction, but through the quality of stillness you carry inside your fire. The feminine is not drawn to you because you're loud, because you charm, or because you offer predictable safety. She is drawn to you because something about you wakes her up without frightening her. Her softness, long protected by armor and mistrust, begins to lean in, not because she wants to, but because something in her feels that it finally can. That feeling, that thawing, that warm pull from the ribs, that is the evidence that you have awakened something she put to sleep to survive this world. Your high sexual energy has become the lantern, not the flame that scorches. You radiate like a reminder that masculinity is not always a predator. It can be a keeper of beauty, a guardian of the sacred. When she's around you, she feels the heat, not as a demand, but as a permission slip for her heart to exhale. You are not coaxing anything out of her. You are holding space with such quiet certainty that she begins to bring herself forward piece by piece, and it's not always obvious. She won't always know how to explain it. But the signs are there. Her voice changes, her eyes rest, her laughter becomes more unguarded. Her body doesn't prepare for danger around you, it prepares for softness, and that softness is awe. Not because you made her feel small, but because you made it safe for her vastness to stretch again. You are awakening not just her body, you are awakening her memory, the memory of what it felt like to be desired without fear, to be seen without being assessed, to be felt without being devoured. Most men try to trigger her attraction. You uncover her intuition. You reflect her back to herself in ways that feel impossible, and in that impossibility, awe is born. There is no script for what you now carry. There is no method that teaches what you've become. You are the result of what happens when a man lets God refine his passion into peace. That peace is not weakness. It is a field of protection around your fire. And when the feminine encounters a fire that burns but doesn't harm, she doesn't retreat. She returns to herself, to her truth, to her breath, to her softness that forgot it could survive this world. You awaken her not by speaking to her wounds, but by refusing to rewound her. You don't fix her. You don't advise her. You simply stand there, wholly yourself, without reaching to take anything from her. And in that stance, unmoving, unwanting, unthreatening, she meets a version of herself she thought she lost. That, chosen one, is what awe truly is. The moment someone realizes they are safe enough to become again, and you are the space where that moment happens. Chosen one, the fire inside you has always been strong. From the earliest days it made you different. It made you intense. It made people respond to you before they understood why. But there was a time when that fire burned in every direction. It couldn't be held. It devoured what it touched. It felt good in the moment, but it left ash in its wake. You knew you had something inside you, but it wasn't yet honored. It wasn't given shape. Now, everything has changed. You didn't kill the fire. You committed it. You let it be refined. And now that same power is not scattered. It's anchored. Your high sexual energy no longer asks for space. It creates sacred space. It moves through you, not like a spark looking for fuel, but like a flame in covenant with heaven. And that covenant has made you into something almost unheard of. A man whose fire creates peace, not damage. This is what she feels now, even if she can't explain it. This is why her breath slows when you speak. Why her spine settles when you look her in the eyes. Why her lips hesitate before forming the words she thought she'd say. Your fire no longer rushes to consume her. It offers her rest. It gives warmth, not heat. It gives direction, not pressure. It gives presence, not pursuit. She's been burned before, and she expected the same when she felt the pull of your energy. But then she stayed, and watched, and waited, and realized you were